Hey everybody, welcome in. This is another After Sunset Sundays. I'm Tammy, I'm the Siberian Wind. I'm glad you are here. I see Judy and Linda have already checked into the chat. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And yes, I am going live early. No need to panic. Nothing out of the ordinary. It was just a very good day to go live early. I did have a little bit of a day today. Went to go wash my I can't even talk. My quilt entries for the state fair at the laundromat. Chloe is joining the chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. So I went to go wash my quilt show entries at the laundromat, and my car would not start. So I spent several hours this afternoon back and forth with the tow truck driver, with the salesman, all of that. I've had this car less than 2 months, and this is the second major issue I've had with it. So I'm a little leery, and oh my gosh, I was about to cry. And I told him that. I was like, look, I was about to cry. Thank you so much for doing all of this and, being on top of it. I appreciate it. But yeah, so today is a day for sewing and zen and chill from the weekend. So we're good. All right, so I see Rayanne has joined in the chat, as well as Kathy. Welcome in, ladies. Thank you for being here. Rayanne, I may end up traveling this week, so I may not make Wednesday. Just as an FYI, I don't know yet. The husband is actually out there right now planning the rest of the quilt shop hop. And so we may be leaving Wednesday. I don't know. I think I'm going to drop my fair entries off, and if once I drop them off, then they can go be carried down there for me, and I don't have to worry about it, and I don't have to be back until Sunday. And I think that may be what we do, is we may just take the week to travel. Kathy says, check to see if you have a lemon law in your state. I do. So the good thing about this is, it is a used car. The sales representative has taken care of everything. He actually owns the lot where I bought the vehicle. And so the first issue that I had was with a recall that wasn't actually recalled on my vehicle. My vehicle was made in Ohio, then sold in Canada, and then brought back to the United States. So there's some kind of hiccup with the recall system. So I don't know if it was not just recalled or wasn't supposed to be recalled. I don't know, but it's a known issue with my vehicle. And they went ahead and they ordered parts. Even though they're back ordered, they were ordering third-party parts just to make sure that we could get that issue fixed. I just had it fixed yesterday, and the place that did the fixing is the actual dealer, manufacturing dealer. So if you've got a Ford, you go to a Ford dealer. You've got a Chevy, you go to a Chevy dealer, that kind of thing. So I went to that dealer, and they fixed the problem, but today my battery died. So thankfully I did not have to buy the battery. The gentleman said, okay, well, I said, I'm going to AutoZone. The tow truck driver said that they, if they are going to have it in stock, it'll be them, and they're open on Sunday. He's like, if you go home, just, don't stop until you get there, so you don't have to re-crank. But if you go to re-crank it tomorrow and it doesn't crank, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to call you again, because I don't know what the hell, pardon my language, I don't know what I'm doing. Jumping off a vehicle. That is not my strong suit. I know a lot of things, but if it could potentially shock me, I'm less likely to try to do it. So, I said, well, I'm going over to AutoZone, and, they have my battery in stock. I've already called them. He said, have them put it on my account. So that's what I did, and so I didn't have to come out any money for it. It was just a little time and aggravation, and a little bit of a mental breakdown, just a little bit. Thankfully I'm in town and it isn't our only vehicle, so my husband could come get me, and leave the vehicle there or whatever. So there was options, thankfully. But for the last 7 years, we've had just one vehicle. So if that had happened with our main vehicle, then I would have really been panicked. Rayanne said, no problem, we will miss you. I don't know yet if I'm leaving Wednesday or not, but I did give him the option. So if he wants for us to leave Wednesday, that's what we're doing. And you guys are getting the sunset. If you see it, the sunset is coming through. I'm tucked far enough back that it doesn't get me. Let's see. Kathy says, if that happens, it may be something pulling the juice from the battery. I thought about that too. And she said, glad the owner is on it for you, but yes, hiccups are never good. Yeah, exactly. There's two outlets in the vehicle, like the cigarette lighter type outlets. One of them is off if the car is off. And then the other one is a constant supply. And I do have my charger cord plugged into that, but I don't leave my phone plugged into it. And I've done that with every other vehicle I've ever owned. I've never had a problem. Apparently this was the original battery to the vehicle, and it's a 2017, so it's kind of probably timed anyway, but it just happened to be today. Chloe says, it happens to me. Sorry to hear it was a difficult day. Yeah, it was. But thankfully, I went to the laundromat, and the laundromat that I go to, there is a Subway next door. So I gone to the laundromat. I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to fix, something out of a can at home. I'll get Subway. Rob is here. Welcome in, Rob. He says hello from windy and wet Florida. Welcome. Glad you made it, sir. But yeah, so it's next door to a Subway. So I was going to go ahead and go into Subway and, get food and bring it home. So I got food, got in the car, went to crank it. That's when it wouldn't crank. And it was doing the turnover thing, but it wasn't going to the firing up the vehicle thing. That's what it was doing. But the tow truck driver was real cool. He came out and jumped me off with his little battery pack thingy that he's got. I don't know. I do a lot of car maintenance myself, but the electrical stuff I don't touch. I just don't touch it. Like if it's mechanical, I'll touch it all day. But if it's electronic or electrical, no, I'm good. Somebody else can do that for me. But he jumped it off, and so I'd gone back into Subway to eat and wait. So I had that, and I bought cookies for the hubby, because he always likes Subway cookies. He doesn't eat anything else at Subway, but he eats their cookies. So I grabbed him some cookies, and I'm sitting there going, I'm sitting here waiting with his cookies, and I didn't get me any, and I don't need the sugar. I don't need the high whatever, the high sugar content. So I didn't bother with getting me any cookies, but I was literally sitting there going, I'm sitting here, at least I have a fresh Dr. Pepper that I just got at Walmart on the way there because I've forgotten color catchers. So I had to stop and get color catchers on the way. So I did a whole bunch of things before I got there. And so this was kind of the last thing I needed to do for the day. So that was kind of a good thing. Okay, enough about the car. It is running. It is working. We actually went to dinner tonight and the car drove just fine. Battery's working just fine. So we are good. We are very, very good. So what I am going to work on. You guys have never seen this project. This project has not seen the light of day since 2012, probably. So I know you guys have not seen this project. Nobody else has seen this project. I'm going to grab my studio mode real quick and make sure that what you guys are going to see is actually what you need to be able to see. Let me move things over. So I have been... Kathy's excited. Yes, please be excited. This is a project that I've had people ask me to come finish because I started teaching this back in the day, and I never finished teaching it. And I never finished actually making the project. Um, yeah, it's definitely a UFO. It is a very, very long existing UFO. And like I don't even think all the pieces fit properly, so we're gonna see what happens. Judy H has joined the chat. I think I'm gonna go Judy N and Judy H. There we go. She says, "Howdy, Tammy. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. You made it just in time." All right. So I'm gonna show you first the overall picture of what we are doing, what the project was supposed to look like. That's what we're going with is was. And just remember, the pictures that you're about to see are not representative of the actual fabrics I'm using. And it will be kind of obvious here in just a minute. Glenda is asking Rob if you're getting a lot of rain. I assume he probably is. He probably is. We actually were getting some here today. All right, so this project right here, and it is kind of, it is sideways, but that's how I printed it, like originally. I do not even have this project saved anywhere. I don't think anyway. I mean, this is a pretty old project, okay? I mean, like seriously old, you guys. So like there's this star up at the bottom there, the next star over to it. Both of those are uncompleted. This square unit here is uncompleted. It is Y seams. This block is completed, and that block is completed. Oh, you guys really can't see it because of the sun. Sorry. So those two are completed. That is not completed. I'm missing pieces. This one's completed, but it's not the right size, I bet you. And yeah, it is a sampler. This block is completed. This one is not. This is all flying geese. This block is completed, and this block is completed. So I was doing this as what I was calling a 16-month sampler. So this was a 12 months block, and then we were going to take the rest of the time to do all the assembly. So one block was cut, or 1 month was cutting, and then, or 1 month was your supply list. The second month was your cutting list, and then months 3 through 12 blocks. 3 through 15 was going to be assembling the blocks. And then the stashing was going to be the last month. So you would get the full assembly at the last month when I was going to do this. Rob says that the worst just passed by. Very good. Glad for that. Still very windy. Hopefully I don't lose power. See, Rob, you're here with me. You can't lose power while you're here with me. That's what we're going to go with. No losing power while you're here with me. That's my mantra, and we're going to stick with it. All right, so I have not pressed any of these in years, you guys. Like, I have not pulled them out. I have not touched them. I have not pressed them. So this is the star block, and it is actually oriented in the quilt this way. So you'll have the 2 star points up top, 2 star points down at the bottom, and then the total of 2 points out to the sides. So that's how it's oriented in the quilt. But putting it on top of some of the other blocks, it doesn't measure up quite right. So I'm thinking that it's not going to go into the quilt properly. And then I will tell you guys, this is early in my quilting journey, okay? So here I am. I am a shop owner and teacher at my local Bernina store, and I have no idea what I'm actually doing, but quilting is really big, so I'm trying to teach everyone quilting, and I really don't know what I was doing. So this is me trying to learn. Glenda says, Tammy, sorry about your car troubles. Yeah, it's one of those days. It really is. So I do not even have a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. I don't have it here for sure. And then, like, my point is already into the edge right here. So, like, I do not have a 1/4 inch seam allowance anywhere except maybe here if I'm lucky. And then I definitely have it here. But that's like it. Like, so 2 maybe of all of the points in this have the seam allowance. And then I can see my stitches here. I don't know what I was actually doing when I was doing this, so I don't know. So I may go back and fix it. I don't know if I'm going to or not. Rob says, been sewing most of the day. Couldn't do much else. I am jealous. I'm jealous. All right, so that's one block. This is another block. So this is how you can tell how old this project is, you guys. These were the cool fabrics in the early 2010s. This green with this, it's a mottled print that goes with it. And then all these circles on this print, this brown print. You guys, that was like one of the in prints at the time. And this is all throughout the quilt. So the fabrics you just saw plus these are all throughout all of the blocks. So I did keep it, fairly repeatable. So this is the one that it doesn't really look like what I intended it to look like. And I did pick all these blocks. So this green and yellow block here. I am so sorry about the sun, you guys. It doesn't look like it, but there's like long sashing. It's a 9 patch with pieced sashing with partial seams. That's what this block is. So it is a partial seam block. And so like I was trying to choose blocks that taught different techniques. So it is a technique block versus being something intentionally pretty, I guess is the best way to put it. And, oh yeah, you guys really can't see it up there. So, I don't know how good that shows up. But, I mean, it looks kind of funky, but it was for the technique. Maritza has joined the chat. She says, hola, welcome in, Maritza. Rob says he likes the brown print. I really did back then. You guys, you will see a lot of this brown print, especially throughout this whole quilt. You will see it. Now, I am kind of really thrilled with the way this block turned out. This is that spools block. And this was, I don't know what the technique for this one was supposed to be, like what was so important, other than it just looking cool, I think. I think this was just a looking cool block. Or just doing the pointed seams or something. Chloe says, you pick the hard stuff. I do, right? Like, I was jumping full on in. No idea that what I picked to do was going to be so insanely hard. All right, so this is my courthouse steps block. And in doing this, I did not know what I was doing. So this is my center square here. This is a piece attached to it. So it's the same colorway. Exact same fabric. And then here is exact same fabric again. So they're connected. And then these two pieces are not the same size. And then the border maroon print is not the same size either. And it's not the same size going up on the sides here in this purple print. You guys, this purple print is actually kind of cool. And I did not intend to line up my print, but that's what ended up happening. This print, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it looks like a lattice work. It looks like lattice, like basket weaving to it. And I fell in love with that. All right, Rob, here's your favorite print back, this brown. And so this is another one that I put in here. And you guys, okay, you want to know the mark of a beginner quilter who really doesn't know what she is doing. Okay, if you guys really want to know, Yes, Chloe, she got it. Basket weave. Yes, absolutely. All right. So right here, I don't know how well you guys can see it. Let me see if I can bring it up so I can see a little bit better. Okay, you guys might be able to see it a little bit. It's a little pale. Guys, that is my selvage. That is my selvage for this green. That is how close to the edge I sewed. I cut this with the selvage going into this block. And I have not squared this up. Like you guys can tell, I really have not squared this up at all. But yeah, so I chose blocks that either I thought would look cool, or I chose them based off of a technique that I wanted to teach, thinking that that was the great way to teach it, was to try it myself, not realizing what I was walking myself into. So I've got a couple of the blocks that are uncompleted. I've got a couple of them pulled out, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And to tell you for sure, you have that print in green in your stash, the basket weave or the brown circles. Okay, so this piece right here, that was the bottom of the leaf. I have an extra piece because I did not know what I was doing when I did this. And this is proof. I did not know what I was doing. Okay? So I have extra. Now, I do have, the good news is, and I bet you it is that circle print because, oh, you've got the basket weave. Oh my gosh. Well, I've got that circle print in pink. So I have that circle print in brown and in pink. So I don't know what my thinking was, but I do have it. Oh, dropped a bag. So I do have some scraps. I've got extra of the basket weave in purple and some of my background color that I really haven't used a whole lot of. Some of my pale pinks that are going into this. I've got triangles and such. I've got strips. I've got some of the burgundy. So I've got a little bit left over. Guys, I have no green left over. Like, I do not know what happened, but I have no green left over. So I've got a block that is missing pieces, and it is missing pieces that are green. So I do not know yet what I'm going to do. So we're going to see what ends up happening. The pink is pretty. Yes, it is. And here it is right next to the brown. So, this was so stinking popular. I mean, like, the Hancock fabrics that my store was in could not keep this stuff in stock. So, like, everybody was buying it. And I have no idea how, because I've never seen anything made with it. I've never seen anything made with it. But, I have it. I do have it. And I have not looked yet on my fat quarter shelf to see if any of these fabrics happen to be in fat quarter quantity on my shelf, and if that's why I don't know where they're at. That one is one where blocks are missing, pieces are missing. All right, so the first one we're going to pull out, and we're going to get it done. And I have not pressed any of these pieces, so it is exactly the way that I left them. And I don't know if I'm going to even attempt this one anytime soon. This is that multi-star block. Guys, I have no idea how that's supposed to be assembled. And because I don't have instructions from the software program that I used, I have no idea. You have a ton of pink and brown in my stash from the same time period. Yeah, see, pinks and browns were the bomb. The absolute bomb. I'm going to have to duck out, feeling a bit queasy. Man cave is rocking and rolling. Going to go lay down. Yes, Rob, please take care, sir. You go lay down. Absolutely. All right, so this is the block we're going to put together. Sorry for the sun blocking us out. So this is a Y-seam block. So that's what I'm going to work on. Chloe says, feel better, Rob. I agree. Please feel better, sir. And you guys, I have not pressed these. I'm going to press them real quick. And no, when I was doing this, I did not starch. I did not starch at the time that I was learning to do all of this. So none of this is going to be starched. Because at this point, no. At this point, just no. No, and no. It is not happening. Alright, let me get my extra rulers out of the way. And this will turn into my cutting table too. Once I get some of this moved out of the way for us to be able to work. So this is that cream and the brown. Glenda is saying, prayers you feel better soon, Rob. Bye and be safe. Yes, agreed. Many times over agreed. Many times over agreed. So we're just going to see how many of these we can put together tonight. And this is just going to be one of those random projects that I work on. Kind of like the Cotton Cuts puzzle mystery, you know, that I don't spend a whole lot of time on. I work on it on one live and that's it kind of deal. That's what we're going to do for this. Alright, so that is what the block is going to look like once it is assembled. Now, with this being said, because I assembled a lot of this way back in the day, like seriously way back in the day, I do not know. Yeah, I agree. I understand that. I completely understand that. I used to be in a semi-truck. I understand. Rob is saying that it's just motion sickness due to the tropical storm. Yeah, I rode out several heavy storms in a semi-truck, and your vehicle is just rocking and rolling. It is not fun. And I am the motion sick person in the family. So, like, my husband does not get motion sick. I don't think he could have if he, being in the military and all, and being, Marine Corps where the Navy transports you everywhere. I don't think that would have worked out very well for him. I'm just moving my camera around, you guys. Nothing to worry about. I'm about to bring you guys up. Where do you start with the block? Very good question. So what I am going to do is I'm actually going to sew this side and this side. So I'm going to sew them to the center square. And I'm going to go ahead and sew this side to this side. But what I'm going to do, so you sew these two together. So you sew it like a bow tie. And then you come in and you sew down. Sew across and sew back up. And same thing over here. You're going to sew down, sew across, and then back up. So you're going to have two Y seams in there. And you could do this, in sections. So I could, sew, these two together. And then sew this to this. And then my next seam would be this to this. And then my last seam would still be a three-sided seam. But I think it will just be easier to go ahead and sew both of the dark browns to the green, press them, and then get going with that. Judy H. is asking if Rob lives on a boat. No, he actually lives in a little park where he lives in like an RV camper type home. So those, when you live in either a mobile home, manufactured home, or you live in a camper style home, even if they are tied down really tight. Yes, that's the words I was looking for. RV. Even if they are tied down tight to the ground, which is definitely recommended in tornadic weather. Even if they are tied down, you can still kind of feel them shift a little bit. Sometimes it's dependent on the age of the home, and sometimes it's dependent on how tightly they're strapped down, just how strong the winds are, anything like that. So yeah, Glenda got it right. He does live in an RV. And there's just, RVs are really hard to strap down to. Judy says, thank you, Glenda and Tammy. I was wondering. Yep, that is what it is. And it's very similar to living in a semi-truck where you just cannot strap it down. All right, I'm going to bring you guys over to the machine. Now, one thing that I do when I do blocks like this is I would like to go ahead and line them up, center them, especially when they're already pre-cut and there's a bias edge. I want to make sure that the bias is closer, and I am picking up threads, you guys. I am so sorry. Okay, so my square was cut on the straight of grain. My outside squares were not. Like this angle right here where it creates that bow tie effect was not cut straight of grain, and that was intentional because you do want the outside edges of this to be on straight of grain. So when you're piecing something like this, put your piece that has the bias edge, put it on top. That is going to save you a lot of hassle and headache because you're not having to figure out if it is exactly where it needs to be. Now, one thing that I do differently from a lot of people when I am sewing Y seams, if you go looking for a tutorial on how to sew Y seams, you're probably going to see 3 or 4 different methods, and a lot of people will tell you start a 1/4 inch in and backstitch where you start, and then when you get to the end, same thing, backstitch where you started, and stop a 1/4 inch from the edge. I do not bother doing that. I go ahead and I stitch edge to edge because I would rather take my seam ripper and pull back a few stitches than to have my 1/4 inch at the start or 1/4 inch at the end be off. It's just too much hassle for me. I find that it slows down my sewing and I don't feel as rewarded for sewing. And I really want to feel rewarded for sewing. So now I will tell you this, guys. This is another reason I want to feel rewarded for sewing. So, I've been working on getting my quilt for State Fair done. It isn't getting done. I am going to put it on the back burner. I'm pulling an older quilt out. And that is what I'm going to submit for State Fair. So I'm not going to, and I'm actually not even going to press this. I'm just going to finger press because I don't want too much of a set seam in case I need to move things around. So I am going to press these open, just finger pressing them open, just using my fingernail to just scrape along it. But, so I'm not going to finish my State Fair quilt. It is not going, well, it will get finished, but it's not going to get finished in time because I feel like I need to rip too much of the quilting out. I've had some issues with my long arm, and part of it is inexperience. And I fully admit that it is inexperience. That is why I am struggling with it. And that is okay to do. It is okay to be inexperienced or to have issues, and it is perfectly okay also to admit them. So I'm pulling out an older quilt. It's still within the last 3 years, so I can still use it. It won't be as of next year, but it is as of this year, still within the last 3 years. So I am going to use that. And so I do still have 2 quilts to put in the State Fair. One is a Quilt of Valor for my husband, and the deadline did, Chloe says, hope the deadline didn't stress you out. It kind of did, but it wasn't the deadline's fault. I'll put it that way. And I know that sounds kind of like granting the deadline permission or something. It's not really. Part of it was I put the deadline for my husband's Quilt of Valor, and you guys, I could not have chosen better timing. That was the perfect timing. because he may not be umpiring next season at all. He's starting to have some major back problems, so we don't know what we're looking at for his back yet. And so he may not even be umpiring next season, and it actually really made an impact on a lot of people for his award to be during the baseball game, or before the baseball game that it was. And it was the last televised baseball game that he has called. So I don't know if he's going to call any more televised baseball games or not, but we're going to assume that he's not going to be able to. And so that was that deadline. I met that one. That one was insanely stressful. But now that deadline is over, the other deadlines kind of went on back burner initially. I'm looking for my pins, you guys. I apologize. I normally don't do this where I'm looking around for something, but I really do not know what I have done with my pins. Okay, well, my pins are nowhere to be found. So, I guess we're doing this without pins. Okay. You guys, I don't do Y-seam. I don't do this kind of Y-seam without pins. So, yeah. Okay, I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to bother. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since I don't have my pins, the alternate option is I am going to stitch the 1/4 inch down the center side, and then we'll deal with the other sides in a minute. We will come back and we will rip and we will fix it until it is happy. That is the way we are going to deal. Where there is a will, you guys, there is always a way. I just can't believe I can't find my pins. Chloe says, everything happened the way it did for a reason. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And I think with taking a step back on my State Fair quilt, I can put the other quilts that really do have the next timeline coming up. I can go ahead and make them priority, and I can take my time and not feel rushed and not feel like I'm literally chomping at the bit to get them done. And I just saw out of the corner of my eye where my pins are, and they are on the other side of the room, and I'm blocked in, and I'm not getting up. So we are still going to do it this way. Oh, this is what After Sunset Sundays are all about. It is about sewing what we can, how we can, figuring it out along the way, and not letting any of it stress us out. Not letting it stress us out. Alright, so here's what I've got. I've got my green square in the middle, obviously. And then I now need to join these sides. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to take out the stitches just back to here. And I am going to go ahead and finger press these open as well. So what's going to happen to this center square is it's going to fold over itself at these sides, but that's okay. It will not hurt the center square one bit. It will not have feelings about it. It will not get mad, and it will not throw a temper tantrum like a toddler. Live and unscripted. Yes, that is precisely the case. Very unscripted. Sundays are not supposed to be scripted at all. And you guys, I'm living proof. It is not scripted. It is not scripted one bit. Alright, so when I turn over to the back side, let's see if I can get this to where you guys can see it. When I turn over to the back side, I see my stitching line for this last row if I open the seam back up. And so I just rip back to that little point where this, catches to the other side. Okay? So that is exactly how it goes. Chloe is laughing about the live and unscripted. Yes. It is very live, very unscripted. We are not scripted here on Sunday. I still have to work on my calendar for Tuesday, but I won't have that until I know what my travel plans are, and all of that. Because I really want, kind of my deal this year was I wanted to do all of the shop hops for this Wyoming State shop hop. And I really haven't had the opportunity to go do all of them because either we've had other things going on, I've had too much on my plate. You know, it's been a rough summer. It's been a learning summer. Last summer, by far, way worse. Way worse of a summer. I mean, there's no comparison. Last summer was on the stress level, it's off the charts. So this summer's been better, but I kind of, wanted to gift myself the ability to just do one thing that I wanted to do, and that was do these shop hops. So, yay, it looks good. It looks good. Okay. So, let me press this open, finger press it. I'm not going to the iron just yet. I am refusing to go to the iron. The iron can wait its turn. It's been a good baby lately, so we're going to let it wait its turn, and I'm not going to burn my fingers either. We're going with that lingo today. All right. So the backside is a little messy. Overall, not too bad. But the front side looks phenomenal. And I'm not sure if I could have done this beautifully when I designed this quilt. So even though I was teaching this, even though I deemed myself enough of an expert to teach it, I was definitely not that. Chloe says, I went to a quilt shop in New Hampshire and found the shop hop for me is all of New England. It's 91 shops. Not possible for me at this time. Oh, no. 91's a lot of shopping. A lot of shop hopping. Now, just because I go to a shop does not mean that I spend a lot of money. The only thing that I have committed myself to do is at every shop I will buy a kit if they have a kit. There has been one shop that did not offer a kit at all for their block. And there's one shop that I bought the block but still don't have the pattern for. But that's all I'm committing to is just the kit at each shop. And that's it. But there's only 24 shops. There's only 24. At least this year. There might be less next year, might be more. Depends on if any new shops open or what the shop hop owner or the shop owners want to do. It's kind of up to them. I used to do row by row. I used to love row by row. And row by row isn't here in Wyoming. And I don't know if there's a reason why row by row isn't here in Wyoming, or if it fizzled out. There were some shops that actually had row by row, like the license plates from row by row. Like they had those from previous years. So I don't know what the deal is. But I definitely haven't done a shop hop or row by row in years. So this was kind of like, this is our first full year in Wyoming. So what better way to celebrate that than by doing the shop hop? So, and it's appropriate that it's 24 shops for 2024. I did not think about that before, but I did just think about that now. So we will count that as a plus. And it's something small that I can do that isn't like super bad. I agree. Glenda says, wow, Chloe, that's a lot of shops. Yes. So Chloe, next summer, we need to plan so I can come stay and, me and Paladin can come stay with you and we'll go visit all of them together. Rayanne says that row by row used to be here in Wyoming. Don't know what happened to it. Okay. That explains why some of the shops have some of the merchandise that makes sense to me from row by row. It's 5 states. Oh my goodness, Chloe. That's a lot of states to do a shop hop, but I guess that's a good way to, get a road trip in during the summer. It's kind of funny that our theme for this year is road trip destinations. Of course, it's road trip destinations, and one of the shops did a suitcase block. One of the shops in Gillette, Wyoming, chose to do a suitcase block. It's kind of cool that they would do that. Chloe says, that would be fun. Yes, it would be. I would love to do that. And I have not gotten to see, how long does your shop hop thing run? When does it end? Because if it ends in the fall, then I could see all of the fall foliage. We could plan that. All right, so here's the second one. So that came out beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and press the one that I did. I pressed the first one after I got it done. I'm going to go ahead and press this one so I know it's done. And I don't have to come back to it. All right. So now we got 2 more to go. But it's looking cute. It's looking so cute. So here's another thing. I was looking into retreats. And how do people come up with their teachers for retreats? Do they put in requests for teachers? I know not all these national instructors go to all these little bitty retreats. Oh, you think it starts in September? Oh, that would be gorgeous. Yeah, but I could totally see myself doing that. I would have to plan it for a short period of time so we can get them all in. And be gone the least amount of time. Because, going into October, I have to be back because the weather kind of changes. Oh, awesome. Kathy is here. Welcome into the chat, Kathy. She is asking where Chloe lives. Chloe lives in Rhode Island. And she just visited New Hampshire on vacation this past couple days. You were leaving. Oh, you were leaving yesterday morning, right? So are you still on vacation? Did I miss something? Oh, that would be so much fun. I'm glad you made it, Kathy. Welcome as a first-time chatter on my channel. Thank you. Glad to have you. All right. So, yep, live in Rhode Island, vacationing in New Hampshire. Okay, yep, so she's still in New Hampshire. Awesome. When do you come back? When do you go back home, Chloe? When do you leave to go back home? Earlier we had Rob in Florida on the chat, and Glenda, if you will remind us where you are, because I wanted to say you were in Florida as well, maybe. I know Linda is in Florida, and we got 2 Judys in the chat, and I don't remember where you guys are, and I don't remember where Maritza is. And then Kathy, if she's still here, is in Louisiana. Let's see. Who else am I missing? I think I got them, everybody. I remember where you guys are. Helen has joined the chat. Welcome in, Helen. She is joining us from California, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Helen. Oh, Chloe says, or Glenda says, Chloe, when I drove truck, I went to Rhode Island years ago. Okay, Judy, H is in Georgia. Let's see. And Friday the 9th is when Chloe comes back. So you got a little bit of time. That's almost a week. All right, I've got this finger pressed. We're going to take it to the iron real quick. That way this block is pressed and done. So now I got to ask. Southern California, says Helen. Yes, that's what I thought. Me too. I'm in Torrington, going to Cheyenne and Laramie, Wyoming tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome, Kathy. Yay. Yay. Oh, Banks, Alabama, 50 miles from Dothan. That's right. We talked about that before. Why did I not remember? Oh, my goodness. Because my grandparents used to live in Dothan. And I actually still have family there. Family that I don't talk to, but family. Kathy, are you doing the shop hop? Is that why you're going, or have you already shopped those shops? I've already gotten Torrington and Cheyenne and Laramie. One of the Cheyenne shops does not have, if you haven't already been there, one of them does not have a kit. If you want their block, it is just a pattern for their block. And it's like arrows going around. I think it's the Around the Block shop. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say that is the name of the shop, if I'm thinking of it right. Yeah, so hubby and I might be leaving. We're either going to leave Wednesday or Thursday, I'm thinking. And then I want to be back Sunday in time to... You are going shop hopping. Yay! Yay! Those are fun. Those are fun stores. The Sewing Center in Cheyenne has a lot of the AccuQuilt dies. They also have the rolling cases and things like that. I didn't shop everything else. Chloe says, sounds fun, Kathy. Have fun. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Laramie. Oh, they're such a cute shop. Laramie is cute. Let's see. The Around the Block, they have, like, okay, very small, only one store. Yeah, I believe it. I don't remember ever passing through Banks, but I'm quite sure I probably have. Going to Dothan as many times as I did, especially growing up, I am quite sure I went through Banks. Quite sure. I just don't remember them. They're probably like, there's a, what is it called? It's not 10 Sleep. 10 Sleep is also small. Maybe it is 10 Sleep that I'm thinking of. On the back way from here to Laramie, there is a little bitty place, and it's like a convenience store and grocery store and all of that in one. And it's about the size of a Dollar General, if we're going to be honest. Maybe a Dollar Tree. It's a really tiny little place, and I didn't get to go in anywhere. I was in the mood to get passing through and all of that. 7 miles from Brundage. Okay, yes, I have passed through there. I can tell you for sure I've passed through there. All right, so this is that block, you guys, that has been waiting over 10 years to be put together. All right, so that one is put together. I do not know if it compares on size. I will do size comparisons later when we start sashing everything to put it together. Because, I've got 12 blocks, right? So, let's pull out. I'm not sure if I really want to put... Okay, these would be... I need to trim these. And I don't think there's any sizing on trimming. These are all half square triangles as well. Okay, this one's going to be more funky. Let's see if I've got all the pieces for this. Helen says, very nice, Tammy. Thank you. And Chloe says, very nice. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. Let me see what else paperwork I've got in here, you guys. All right. So I actually did do a cutting and piecing outline. And it was a 16-month quilt. So fabric C, B, E, D, I, G, F. Blocks will be pieced in class in the following order. Block 12. Do I even have... No, we never did block 12. I don't know how the heck I did all this. Block 9. Block 9 was the one that we just put together. So this was supposed to be 2011 and 2012. Judy says, I have relatives in Shorterville and Abbeville, Alabama. Okay, cool. Yay. Glenda says, very pretty. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Sash and cut an additional session during March. Oh, piece to quilt in April. Then alterations to sashing and size will be completed between March and April. Quilting done following April class. Instructions given, and quilting starting after April 12 class, or the April class with additional sessions held on a one-to-one basis as needed to plan quilting process. Quilting bee class style during May to finish quilting in class time. Multiple time slots and availability will be made to allow students to quilt with help from staff and other students. Binding to be done, and binding was during June. Okay, so 1 month was cutting everything, and then the finishing was the rest of it. Oh my goodness. You guys are all kind of home, close to home for me. G and F. Another copy of the finishing list. And my handwritten notes. Okay. So, you guys, I have done handwritten notes for quilt process from the beginning. So, literally, I wrote, cut X strip, like cut a 4 7/8 inch strip. Cut these squares, cut this, cut that, cut this strip, cut these, cut the templates, cut for 2 7/8 by 7 3/4. Like, literally, I wrote all of my instructions for being able to complete all of these blocks. And this was page 3 of something for the instructions. I never wrote what the finished number of pages was, but I don't have pages 1 and 2 of the handwritten instructions. So I don't know what I'm missing where. So this is literally flying by the seat of my pants, kind of teaching. And that's what I did. That is absolutely what I did. Judy says I used to stop in and get my sheets and towels. Oh, cool. Yay. When you were in Shorterville and Abbeville. Yay. That is awesome, you guys. All right. So, this is the block that we're going to try. Let's see if my camera will focus on it. Okay. It really doesn't show up well. I am so sorry. But it is not partial piecing, but it is partial seams at the end, but I can guarantee you I had no clue what I was doing when I chose this block. Glenda says I used to get leftover fabric from cutting room. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. All right, so maybe I did starch because these are kind of stiff fabrics. So maybe I did starch. I don't know. This was when I would be using the faultless starch. Let's see. Laura has joined the chat. She says, hi, Tammy and everyone. I'm late, but just want to say hi. Oh, you are not late. I started early just because I wanted to see if you were going to show up on time. Just kidding. That is not at all what happened. It was just one of those days that I could get on early. So that's what we were doing, is we were getting on here early just because I could. All right, so that is my center square. And these are the oversized triangles, probably. Because I have no idea how big these are actually supposed to be. Let's see. Judy says my Aunt Linda would get leftover fabric from there too. Oh, that's awesome. That is so awesome, you guys. All right, so I can already see we're going to have problems. I can already see it. So these triangles here that are supposed to join in are way bigger than the sashing pieces. So we are going to see what this turns into. This is going to be some kind of conglomerated mess. I can already tell you that much. I just don't know how much of a mess it is going to turn into. So we shall see what it turns into. So I'm thinking that we're going to piece these triangles and then, oh, you know what? This goes that way. Let me make sure I'm turning these the right way. All right, that way, that way, that way, and that way. Okay, so those are correct. You had an Aunt Linda that worked there also. Oh my gosh. That is a very small world. Judy's Aunt Linda would get leftover fabric from there, and then Glenda had an Aunt Linda that worked there also. You guys, this is like a really, really small world. Really small world. All right, so this triangle is going to go this way. So these are going to go with the long side towards the sashing piece. And this is kind of how I do my cotton cuts too. If you guys have not seen me do a cotton cuts yet, I go ahead and lay everything out the way that it's supposed to be in the... Oh my gosh. Judy's asking if her name was Linda Smith. Oh my goodness. What a small world this would be if you guys... If that is the Linda we're talking about. I mean, Linda's a popular name, but you guys, if I connected you, you got to give me a little bit of credit for connecting the two of you, right? That's what we're going to go with. That is what we're going to go with. Linda Shaw. Okay. So it wasn't the same Linda, but it's close enough. They both start with an S. That's insanely amazing, you guys. Oh my goodness. I did not expect this kind of cool factor tonight. I needed that. That's like awesome. All right. So I'm going to see. No, I probably can't raise you guys up too much. But this is, I am holding the camera, so it is shaky. I'm very sorry. That is the overall layout. So what's going to happen is I'm going to sew these together. I'm going to sew these together. And I'm going to sew the others together as well. So I'm putting that camera back down so I do not make you guys sick. I'm very sorry if I did. I'm not trying to. So we're going to sew those together, and then we're going to come back and, press them, and then we're going to see how this is going to work. And if it's going to work. And you guys, I'm going to bring you over the machine. Bear with me. Oh, I think, yes, I do. Pepperell was a huge place. I believe it. There's a lot of factory places in Alabama. That's what a lot of people don't realize, is that Alabama is definitely a manufacturing state. Because even though you can grow cotton and you can grow other crops in Alabama, Alabama is very much heavy on manufacturing. Very much so. All right. So, you want to know how much of a newbie I was, you guys? My corners down here match. I do not have my seam, or I do not have my points matching either direction. Okay. And Chloe says, if anyone can make it work, you can, Tammy. Yes, I can make it work. It will not be the way I originally intended, but that does not matter at this point. This quilt is 12 years overdue. If it was supposed to be finished in June of 2012, then this quilt is 12 years overdue. So we will take it and we will go with it. We will survive just because there's no other option at this point. I just can't believe I still have all the pieces. Okay, and I wasn't even consistent, you guys. My corners down here, my hand are lined up, but I have overhang on both sides. So yeah, this shows you how far I have come from 2012. So in 12 years, I have come from uneven seams and mismatched everything to a lot of precision piecing. I have not conquered the quilting of with the long arm. I can do it on a frame with a digitized program, but I've not conquered the quilting part of it. But I've conquered everything else apparently, including cutting. This is insane. I cannot believe what I'm finding doing this, you guys. So, how many of you have a UFO that is this old or older? Do you have a UFO that is this old or older? We are looking at 12 years. It was supposed to be finished 12 years ago. That was the planned date. I will say this. I will say this for myself. I have come a long way in keeping on task with my quilting. So even though... Did I do a... I think I did. Okay. I was panicking for a second. Bear with me. I've made a lot of progress. Now when I teach a quilt, I actually teach the whole quilt. Chloe says that she does. Helen says, absolutely, I have many. Kathy says that she's got a quilt that's older. Chloe says, I couldn't cut accurately then either. Can any of us? Glenda says it's fun to find things I forgot about. Yes, absolutely. Jean is here. Welcome in, Jean. She says, I have one from 2008. Oh, wow. I think, don't quote me on this because I haven't gone back through and I'm not sure if I've got, I don't think I have anything older than this one. I think this is my oldest UFO. I mean, and it has literally been in Ziploc bags shoved from one place to the next all these years. Susie has joined the chat. Welcome in, Susie. She says hello. Hello to you too. Thank you for joining the chat tonight. Rayanne says, I have a double Irish chain that started in 2002. Okay, you got me beat. That's like an extra 10 years older than this. So you definitely got me beat on that. Yeah, Susie, what we were talking about is how old is your oldest UFO? The project that I'm working on now was supposed to be completed in 2012. Laura says, I might have some crochet UFOs that are older than you. That's fine. You're allowed to. I won't tell you how old I am then. Unless you already know. If you already know, then, cat's out of the bag kind of deal. But if you don't already know, I'm not going to tell you. Not going to tell you. And you know what? I can probably get away with trimming these to whatever size I want, since I don't know what size they're supposed to be. Helen says, good one, Laura. Oh. Gosh, I'm trying to think if I've got any craft projects that are older than this. I think I've gotten rid of all of my craft projects that would be older. And I'm trying to think, because the UFOs that I'm thinking of that I know that I have, I think they're 2014, maybe 2015. So they're a little bit younger than this. Not by much, but just a little bit. But I think they are younger than this. Gosh, golly. Now, I guess the next question is, alright, so Rayanne says that she's got the double Irish chain that she started in 2002. A couple of you have said, Jean has one from 2008. Helen and Chloe and Kathy. Okay, do you guys still have all the pieces to put your UFOs together? That's the other question. Because I don't have any more of this green, so I'm not sure. Laura says, I'm not sure how old you are, but I've been crocheting for probably 55 plus years. I'm 60 and my grandma taught me when I was 4 or 5. I was 8 when she taught me to sew. Okay. I will stop you right there. Yes, that you probably do have one that's older than me if it was from when you were young. Whatever you classify as young, it probably is one that is older than me. I will grant you that. Alright, let's see. Let me make sure I'm turning these the right direction. Not that it's going to matter because I'm going to have to turn them again here in a minute. Kathy says that she does. Susie says that she has a needle point that's about that old. Oh my goodness. Jean says that she's got all her pieces too. I have lost pieces in travel, in moving. I think that's why I don't have any of my greens that I need. So that one block that's missing pieces, I think I'm just going to have to suck it up and do something different. Glenda says that some she does and some she doesn't. I have a project, and I probably will bring it onto the... Rayanne says that she does have the extra fabric. Awesome. Alright, so here's the next step, is I'm going to take the units I just sewed, and we're going to sew them together with these big triangles here, and see if I come up with a piece that I can trim. We're just going to see. We're just going to see. Bear with me. I have a little bit of coughing going on today. It's been hazy outside, and so there's the wildfire smoke and all of that in the air. I did go to the baseball game last night. Our local baseball team, the Casper Spuds, the last night ended up being the last game. It was the best 3 out of 5 for the championship game, and they won last night. So that turned into, they won the championship for the Independence League Baseball. And so they've been getting celebrated all day today, and like all kinds of, celebrations going on, because it's a huge deal. They have been playing all season to try to win this championship, and they won it. So, but I was there, and they had a food truck that was cooking, and so all the smoke from the food truck was coming over onto the ball field. Smoke is probably not helping. No, it is not. No, it is definitely not. And I think our air filter for the apartment needs to be changed. But I gotta find the key to get into the closet to change it. Yeah, it's one of those kinds of places. They put our air filters in a separate air filters and water heaters in a separate closet. Well, your key to your apartment opens your closet. The problem is, I don't use the key to the apartment because we changed the lock when we moved in. And so because we changed the lock when we moved in, the key that's on our key ring is for the current lock, not the original lock. So the apartment people can get into it all day long, but they can't get into our apartment without us being here. And I do that intentionally. We had some issues in a previous apartment, not here, not in Casper. So yeah, we do the security safety thing. Glenda says, woohoo, that's awesome. Yes. And congrats to the Casper Spuds. Yes. It was so exciting. So exciting. And so I'm sitting at the laundromat today, and of course they've got the radio on at the laundromat. Most laundromats do. And that they either have the radio or they have a TV going. And this one had a radio going. And so all day while I'm doing washing the quilts, that is all I'm hearing is, we're out here at such and such celebrating the Spuds. So it's kind of cool. Cool. And my poor husband. So he has been a baseball umpire for 30 plus years. He is used to being on the ball field. I'm used to watching. I'm used to being the spectator. But he's used to being on the ball field. And so he's in the middle of the action, getting to call the ball, strikes, outs, safes, whatever, calls. He's usually the one out there doing it. And he is not used to being a spectator. We got there last night. He went up to the press box to go say hi to people. He went to the umpire's room to go say hi to the umpires. He went... before the second inning, he'd already gotten up again to go check out the merchandise store to see if there was anything, that he hadn't seen yet. He is not good at being a spectator. And it's kind of funny to watch. Chloe says, hello to Deb. Oh, Deb, welcome in. Welcome in. Kathy says, well, guys, I have to go. It's almost 10 p.m. here, and I have to get up at 4:30. Wish I could be sewing with y'all. And hi to Deb. Thank you, Kathy, for hanging out. Thank you, sweetheart. It is always fun having you in my chat, so thank you. Glad you could make it. And definitely sleep well, because 4:30 is definitely, that is early. I have to do that when I join Sean on his channel. I cannot do 6:30, 4:30 all the time. I cannot do 4:30 all the time. But I do have to do 4:30 in order to be awake and functional by the time we go live at 6 a.m. my time. Otherwise, you guys would see a totally different version of me that is probably the half-awake version. Everybody saying goodnight to Kathy and welcome into Deb. So fun just listening tonight. I've been editing a video almost the whole stream. Oh, good. Yay. So we'll have a new video to watch. If you guys have not checked out Kathy's channel, she is My Hobby Home. She is based out of Louisiana, complete with the sweet Louisiana accent. And she's always got some cool projects going on. And she really does a great job with her shopping. I don't know where she's good. She's good. I was, Kathy. She says, "Lol, you were kind of dragging Saturday with Sean." Yeah, I was. Saturday morning was rough. I actually woke up 30 minutes before because I slept through my alarm. But I didn't tell him that. I was just thankful to be partially awake and have something easy to work on. I could not have done this on my Saturday morning live with Sean. This requires a little bit of brain power. Kathy says, I love to shop. Yes, you do. Guys, if you need to figure out where to find a deal, go check out Kathy's channel, the My Hobby Home. Oh my gosh. Guys, check her out. She is fantastic at finding deals on fabric and patterns and everything else she gets. That was a very fun live to be on. Yes, it was. Sean is so much fun. So much fun. Glenda says, love to watch Kathy. Yes. I don't always get to catch up with Kathy, but I love when I can. Love it when I can. Alright, so I'm going to press these. I'm going to press them with the seams going towards these triangles. It's not going to match up with anything else that we need to worry about. So that's it. It's not going to matter. So I'm going to press these real quick. And we are going to put them back in some kind of order. So let me grab my picture, because I do have a picture of how it's supposed to go. Alright, that is correct for that one. And this was block 8, supposedly. Chloe says, she is great at sharing the deals, too. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Oh, I love the Southern drawl, you guys. I love her Southern drawl. People pay money to hear the Southern drawl, and I wouldn't pay money to do it. I wouldn't pay money to hear it. And I'm from the South, and you guys can probably hear a little bit of it in my voice, but not a lot. But there's no way that, I mean, I couldn't afford to pay for, getting somebody to speak with a Southern drawl for me. But, guys, it's a taste of home. It really is. It's a taste of home. Oh. And, I mean, I didn't grow up near Louisiana, but I did live in Biloxi for a little bit. And Biloxi, Mississippi. And when you live there, you hear that Louisiana accent come through. I watched half of you, and Sean will watch the other half later. Oh, no worries, Glenda. No worries. If I was trying to rewatch, I would be struggling to get the rewatch in. Alright. I guess these are starting to make a little bit of sense. We're going to see. Oh, I see how they go. I see how they go. They're making sense. They're making sense now to me. And I definitely did not starch these like I thought I might have. They are stretching like crazy. So we're going to see. Let's see. Laura says, my husband played semi-pro and sand volleyball when we met. He was offered a pro contract before, but we got married. He played for years, but his knees gave out. It's hard for him to just watch now. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely hard for them to watch. Like, I get it. I really do. But, oh, my gosh. Judy says, every time I go up north, they say I sound southern. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, okay. When I go up north or so, and I mean, there's a few words that I say, and it's Kennedy is the one that comes in here and calls me Alabama. She's the one that says that I sound very southern. But there's only a few words that I do say that she picks up on. So it's not everything that I say that she says that I sound southern for. But I sound southern often enough, apparently. I mean, now you can tell I'm getting tired because I am pulling out that southern accent a little bit more. I can tell I am. But that's okay. I'm good. After sunset Sundays are times to be tired. It's fine. But yeah, that southern accent comes out more when I'm tired or angry. And this time it is tired. I'm not angry right now. I promise. All right. So what I'm going to do is these rectangles here are what I've got to match up to. So I'm going to take and we're going to cut these down to match whatever this measurement is. And I have no idea what it is. So we're going to take my ruler and we going to find out. Welcome to my southern accent. We going to find out. All right. So we are looking at 5 inches. Well, thereabouts. Is it 4 7/8? No, not really. It's supposed to be 5 is what it looks like. Let me see one of these others and see what I come up with. All right, they're just shy of 5. So I must have been cutting them for 5 inches. And that's, yeah. That must be what I was intending. But they're coming out, these are coming out short of 5. Guys, these are coming out short. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to use that measurement on this one. And I guess we're going to go with as large as I can get it to square. That's what we're going to do. Because there's no way I can get a full 5 inches out of this with as skewed as my cutting was back then. It is just not possible to do. So we're going to go kind of 4 7/8 and hope for the best. So I will adjust when I sew these rectangles to them. That's where our adjustment's going to be. Is it's going to be adjusted when I sew these two together. Or, well, these two. You guys can see that. So when I sew these two together, that's where I'll make my adjustment. Oh. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so, yeah, he was struggling to sit through a game. He's like, I feel awkward. I'm like, well, you're a spectator. He's like, I've never been a spectator before. I was like, yep, I know. Before he started umpiring, he was a catcher. And catchers blow out their knees all the time. So, it's kind of good that he isn't, trying to still play actively. Because he would have torn up his knees years ago. But yeah. He's going to struggle for a bit. Making that adjustment to not being on the field. He needs to start teaching though. So we're gonna put him in the position so he teaches. That's what we're gonna make it be. Alright, what you guys thinking? You think I'm gonna be able to make this work? Considering it is so far off. It is not even close to the normal size of anything. Okay, now this block, nope, couldn't get 5 inches out of this one either. I thought I was close. I gotta move it down because I'm not going to get 5 inches. There's not enough room in all my skewed cutting. There is not enough room to make this 5 inches. Oh. Laura says that she has been told she has a Midwestern accent. Ooh. I could see that as being interesting. That's one I've never been accused of. I've never been accused of having a Midwestern accent. I've been accused of the South, and I've been accused of having a Minnesota accent. Let me tell you, that was a weird day, getting accused of having a Minnesota accent. Chloe says, my husband had to stop playing softball around 30, or the orthopedic said he would need a knee replacement by 40. Oh my gosh. Yeah, these sports are tough on our bodies, you guys. They are not forgiving. They are not forgiving at all. I played volleyball in junior high, and there's just no way that I could have continued playing. My body would have given out on me years ago. So I'm kind of glad that, I only played for, school age. But I would have loved to have been sporty and athletic. That was just not meant to be for me, apparently. Alright, and I think once we get this block done, we will call it a night. So we may end a little early tonight, just depending on when this block is done. And how many times we have to pull out, as Sean likes to call him, my bestest friend. And no, I am not singing the Laura Lynn song. If I have to pull Jackie out, we're not singing the song. You guys can sing it in your heads. I will let you, but I'm not going to sing it out loud. Judy H says, well, I'm having trouble keeping my eyes open. See you later. Good night. Good night, Judy. Thank you for hanging out for as long as you did. Chloe says he's 45 and he's struggling with knee problems. Yes. Now, I will say this. Knee surgeries have come a long way in the last even 5 years. So, like, my mom had knee surgery, and they had her up walking the same day. Now, granted, it was swollen to like majorly swollen. But she was able to get the surgery, and it helped her. So I don't know about everybody's knee options, and I don't know what else she had done. I think hers was a total knee replacement, but don't quote me on that. I had hip surgery, but I had to be out for 8 weeks. Like, I couldn't even stand. I could not put any weight on that hip for 8 weeks. And let me tell you, there's not much you can do in physical therapy when you can't bear weight on your hip. I was going through physical therapy to keep me functional, but it did not do much. I still had to do a lot of rebuilding as I'm knocking my thread catcher off. Alright, let's grab you guys over to the machine. I hope it went well for him. Okay, Chloe, my husband should have stopped playing, but eventually it wasn't a choice. He had both knees replaced. Oh, gosh. That is tough. Having both knees replaced, you guys. That's rough. Okay, I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Sorry, the camera is moving. Trying not to make you guys sick. Alright. So what I'm going to do is all 4 of these, this brown is going to go next to the green. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, and that is what we're going to sew. And because some of this did not have enough room to match the whole way, I'm going to use the green as my straight line. And we're going to put the wavy edge on top, and just make sure that we're catching the whole edge, even if it's not a full 1/4 of an inch seam. Let's see. Yeah, I hope it went well for him too. Having both knees replaced within the year. Because I wouldn't think that they would do them both at the same time. Please tell me they did not do them both at the same time. That sounds horrific to even think about having both knees at the same time. First knee in March was rough, but the second one in June was much easier. Oh, okay. That works. So yeah, they didn't both do them both at the same time. I could not imagine being down with both knees at the same time. There's no way they could have done both hips on me at the same time if I needed both hips. I was, having to use one hip to compensate for the other one. So I may end up, I don't know what they're going to do with my wrist yet, you guys. They did say that it is not bone. So I don't know what it is. And with some insurance issues that I'm having right now, I don't know when I can find out. Or when I can have the exam done to find out. I don't know what's going on with my machine. It does not sound right. But the stitches are still pretty. Let's see. Chloe says that it's good that the second one better. I agree. Glenda says, hope and pray he has a full recovery. Oh, and that was last year. Oh, my goodness. So he's not even a year out for the... Well, yeah, he's barely a year out if it was last year. So he's just over a year out. That's not bad. That's not bad. That first year is always the telltale year, so to speak, is what I've heard is, if, you're having problems that first year, you're going to have problems going forward. If you don't have problems, during that first year, you're okay. Alright, so all of these are now attached. So I'm going to take them over here in just a minute. Yeah, I don't know what the machine is sounding odd for. Let me take the bobbin out real quick. Let me take the bobbin case apart. Let me just make sure there's nothing hanging out in the bobbin case that would be causing the issues. And I cannot see what I'm doing. I'm doing this by feel. So, you guys, this light that you guys are seeing here, it is completely obscuring my view underneath. I would have to take this clear acrylic out of the way, and I'm not going to do that right now. Alright. Yeah, a little bit of lint, a little bit of fluff, but nothing else. So, alright. And yes, I do regularly disassemble and reassemble my machines where I can't see what I'm doing. So I can do it by feel. His doctor wanted him to wait until he was 65 because they only last 15 years. He still has some swelling from time to time, but not nearly as much pain. That is good. That is good. Not having the extra pain. So with him having the surgery last year, was he 65? Was that waiting long enough for the doctors to be happy with that? I don't know how old my mom was when she had her knee surgery. So I don't know if they told her that hers only lasts 15 years or not. I guess we will find out eventually. Alright, I'm going to bring you guys back over to the ironing board real quick, or to the table. So when my husband stopped, they only last so long. Oh, okay. That I did not know. Alright, so these look good. So I'm going to press them, and I'm going to press them towards the green. So towards the pieces I just added. And then we will start placing them in place. Okay, see, this is like way oversized. So I don't know if this is going to work or not. We are going to find out together on live. Oh. See, my husband is now, he's in his 60s now, so he would qualify for something, but I don't know what. Oh, maybe these will work. Well, they're still kind of off by more than 1/4 of an inch. So I don't know what we're going to be looking at, you guys. I have no idea. I don't know if this is because I measured wrong originally. I don't know if this is because I cut wrong. And I don't know if this is because the pattern was wrong that I used. So we are going to find out. Alright, he was 59 when he had the surgery. He told the doctor that he wanted to be more active now and would deal with it in 15 years if he had to. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Okay. Because no matter what I do, I'm going to have a partial seam somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and this piece. So let me slide these others out of the way. I am going to sew part of this. I'm going to sew all the way to this end. And I will leave part of this down here open. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I will take this piece and we'll sew from start to finish. Then we'll take this piece and we will sew from start to finish. And then we'll take this piece, sew from start to finish, and then we'll come back and we will finish piecing this seam here. So this is definitely not going to be a perfect block at all. This is going to be like way off. And I don't know how I did this. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So let me sew that first partial seam. And I'm going to bring you guys back over the machine so you can see over my shoulder what I'm doing. Alright, so I have my square on the bottom just because that's the way I want to sew it. But I'm going to start about halfway down the block. So I'm not even going to start really close to where, my seam will be. I'm just starting part of the way. So we're going to go to the end. Alright, and because I won't be able to come in and make a change to this later, I'm going to go ahead and this is going to get pressed towards the square. Glenda says, Tammy, you must like jigsaw puzzles. I kind of do. Chloe's asking, what am I going to do to square it up? I'm going to lose my points. That's... I really don't have a good other option that I'm aware of. And I really haven't thought it through as far as if I would have another option. So I'm just going to lose my points. That's all there is to it. This quilt is going to be so imperfect to begin with that I'm not going to let it stress me. Oh, you know what? This is pretty close. Maybe I'm not going to lose points. We're going to see. We are going to see if I have been overthinking this and we are actually going to end up being incredibly lucky and something from 2012 actually works. Since my vehicle from 2017 decided to not work on me today, having a quilt block from 2012 working would kind of be cool. Now I am going to go ahead and I'm just going to match these edges up a little bit, and I'm feeding in a little extra fabric. So I'm going to push it through kind of thing. Alright, so actually it is matching up at the edges. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to assume that it's going to work the whole way around, but I'm going to hope that it does. Alright, now this one I'm going to press away from the square, I think. Is that what I want to do? Or do I want to press it towards the square? I'm going to press it towards the square. We're just going to go that route. We're just going to keep that going. So, pressing towards the square. It will still be beautiful and loved. Yes, it will. It absolutely will. It will be loved because it is my random orphan UFO that my students waited over 12 years for me to complete. And I don't know that I have contact information for those students anymore. So this is a failed attempt at teaching from back in 2012. My goal going forward into 2025 is to not do this again. To not ever, start a project that I'm going to teach someone how to do and not actually finish it. And I actually really kind of like this block now that I'm putting it together. So we're going to see how it comes out. Because this one lined up too. So I maybe, again, like I said, maybe I was just overthinking it. That's what we're going to go with. I was overthinking. All right. So I think I'm going to go with what I've been doing. I'm going to go ahead and press towards the square. And I'm just finger pressing. I am not going to go to the iron, because now I'm going to be panicked that if I go to the iron and press it, it's not going to line up. Oh. Alright, so this seam, again, is from edge to edge. This is, the last of the full seams like this. Because we did that partial seam to begin with. The next seam will be finishing that original first seam. So that is all we will have left. And when I finish an original seam, when I do a partial seam like this, I do go back and stitch over my previous stitching. So I kind of re-grab it, if you want to think of it that way. I re-grab it so that there's no chance that any part of it ends up not getting secured properly, because there's nothing worse than having your seams come apart during or after the quilting process. The moment of truth, yes, we are almost there. We are almost there. All of these are lining up. You guys, I am completely shocked. I had no idea that they were still going to line up. No joke, had no idea. I am in awe and very, very much shocked that they are lining up. All right. So, here's that last one. And it looks like it lines up pretty close. It's not 100%, but none of them were 100%. But that's not bad. And I was guessing on the trimming measurements, you guys, because again, I have not written instructions for any of these blocks because I didn't get them done. I was writing my instructions for the blocks as we were doing them. So this also tells you how green of a teacher I was back in 2012. I gave my students cutting instructions so they had all of their pieces cut, and I had not tested my pattern, and I was testing it right before class. Like, I was going through and I would cut extra if I needed to if my block didn't go together properly. But I would walk them through putting it together by telling them how to put it together, not by actually, putting it together with them. Okay. It looks good. Let me press it and we will see for sure. Are you as nervous as I am? Or are you confident now? Are you guys confident this is going to work? Because I think I'm kind of confident now. I think I'm a little overly confident now. Alright, I'm going to press all of those seams in towards that center square. So, all of those seams I just sewed, all 4 of those, for that partial seam, pressed in towards the center square. And I got one that's being a little finicky. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, you guys are saying you're confident. Woohoo! You guys are more confident in me than I am in me some days. And I am grateful for that. All right. We have a block. We has a block. It came out pretty. It's not pretty, it's purty. And it looks like I'm going to have all of my points. I'm not going to lose my points. Glenda is... Oh. Sorry, you're clapping. Oh, okay. Well, either way, if you are going to bed, Glenda, good night. Thank you for being here. If I'm misunderstanding, please feel free to correct me. Alright, I do have a kink in the system on this. I have a little bit of fullness, and that's probably where I pulled that seam. But I think if I go and starch all this, I can work that kink out. That is the least of my problems. Laura says it looks great. From a distance. From a distance. I'm going to bring you guys over. Alright, so that is our finished block. So I do have all of my points. And all of my points are there. I think because I didn't make sure that all of my triangles, my big triangles, were cut properly. I have a little bit of extra fullness in some of this, but I think once it's quilted, it will all work out. Okay, so like right here, it like puckers up a little bit, and like right here. So like I think maybe once I starch it down, it will look better. At least in person. Like on camera, it looks fantastic. In person, it looks a little wonky. I've got some fullness right here. So I will be able to work that out probably with starch. And if not, I can work that out with quilting. And that's what we're going to go with. Alright, so that is one more of these blocks done. Let me count what we're sitting at. See what we've got. So we got 1 and 2 that we've done tonight. And that kind of looks like a spool now that I'm looking at it, but it's supposed to be a bow tie block, I think. Alright. And this is definitely going to need some pressing. So that's block 3. And if you guys can see, it is not lining up size-wise. Alright, that is block 4. Yes, I was trying to teach Dresden plates. Or not Dresden plates, Drunkard's Path. Alright, that's 4, that's 5. Oh, we've got more than half the quilt. Alright, so that is block 6. Block 7. And block 8. So we have 4 more blocks to figure out what we're going to do with and how we're going to fix them enough to put them together. So we will have a quilt out of all of this by the end of the year. Okay. I'm not going to put this back up. It's going to stay out until it is done. Whatever version of done means for this quilt, but it will stay out until it is done. I am going to go ahead and get off of here for tonight. I'm kind of feeling the adrenaline from earlier has worn off, and the adrenaline from getting blocks done is kind of worn off as well, and I don't think I'm quite ready for, so I've got 3 blocks here, and then I've got a 4th block that the sashing, or that I'm missing a piece on. One of these is really probably going to be very difficult. The other 2 are not going to be super difficult, but I'm going to show you. We've got this block with all of these flying geese units that are all half square triangles. We've got that block. We have this block right here, which is also half square triangle units. So that's 2. I've got this block is missing pieces, and this block is going to be the difficult block. So that's what we've got left. So we've got 4 blocks left, and no, I may not lay them out in that layout. It just depends on what I end up with. So we'll see what I end up with. All right, so a lot of you are going ahead and saying good night. Good night to all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to spend an after sunset Sunday with me. I really do appreciate it. I love this after sunset Sunday time. It's just kind of that perfect melding of, getting over the weekend and getting ready for start of next week or the start of your work week. Kathy's saying good night, happy sewing. Thank you, Kathy. Glenn's saying everyone have a blessed night. Chloe saying good night all. And I will go ahead and mention this again, you guys. If you are having any kind of struggles with mental health, if you are feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling like there's so much going on and you don't have a place to turn, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I will see about getting you in contact with whoever you need to be getting in contact with. If you need, just take a deep breath, get that recharge in. That way you have the resources to handle whatever life throws at you. Laura is saying good night. Have a great week, everyone. So Terry, thank you for coming in to say good night. She says good night all. Have a good week. Rayanne is also saying good night all. So thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your sewing time. Get some crafting time in. Get some fabric therapy in. Get that serotonin going. Get those happy moments. And help get those there to last you through the week. So I will see you guys on Tuesday night. Do not be late. Tuesday night is super important, okay? So Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will see you guys here.